You can see over the past couple of years, anytime that we have gotten to those levels, it has produced on average about a 45% move.
Today we have an amazing breakdown on Bitcoin's bullish signal, a long-term bullish signal that might be confirmed tonight on the Bitcoin chart. Right now, Bitcoin is in a super interesting place where it's a question. Is this a bear market? Is this a reaccumulation zone? Is this the beginnings of a new bull market under a new context for Bitcoin? In my opinion, it's neither a bull or a bear market. It's quite clearly a beard market. Well, here's the deal. You're going to absolutely love this video by Krown. We're also going to be showing the winners of the $1,000 giveaway. But most importantly, I'm going to be going through this video with Krown, the guru of technical analysis, and talking about this bullish signal and what it could mean for Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency space. So if you're excited, destroy that like button and let's get into this.
As the first quarter of 2022 draws to an ever so important close, there is one major signal baking that could be confirmed as soon as tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time that would have some major targets upwards and onwards. With that said, welcome back to EllioTrades channel. I'm your host Krown, and today we have a fun one as we go over a historical signal for Bitcoin and also a major technical signal as well, both of which have great confluence for a target, multiple targets actually, significantly higher than when Bitcoin currently is. As always, these sort of analyses come with a validation and an invalidation. That is, as always, how I want to differentiate the content on this channel compared to other channels out there. And I should also let you know, if you're interested in a daily Bitcoin analysis, if you think that might be useful to your life, then I do that exactly on my own channel, which you can find in the link in the description below at Krown Crypto. But for now, we are going to get into the fun stuff right off the bat. So today is the last day of trading for the month of March, also last day of the quarter as well. And there's a major signal that could be confirmed as soon as tonight, again at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 00 UTC for the monthly closure. And that is this. On the monthly RSI, we do see a drive of what's called hidden bullish divergence forming, which will be confirmed with any sort of a closure, preferably above about 47,500. But even right about here is okay as well. Higher is a little bit better. Close to $48,000 would add further confluence and also further verification of this signal. Anyways, with that said, I should explain what this essentially means. The divergence here is between the RSI, a momentum oscillator making a lower low, with price action making a higher low on a very high term time frame, which has a great implication for it. And with that in mind, there is, upon validation, two technical targets to be made off of this. The first one coming in from the open around December in the $56,000 to $57,000 region. And the second one, a little bit lower probability, although there are several things to be aware of with this one as well, is in the shallow $60,000 territory. Is this likely to happen as soon as, assuming that it gets confirmed, as soon as confirmation does happen? No, these likely take some time, multiple weeks, probably even a month to a month and a half from that confirmation. But of course, one thing before the next, and we want to prepare for such things. So what would essentially invalidate this? Well, keep it in mind that this not necessarily hasn't been validated just yet. First, it needs to get validated, and then if it were to be invalidated, meaning that the signal is no longer relevant, we would look at that as invalidation below $44,500 on a daily closing basis. Now, I want to bring one other thing into the periphery as well. This is something I've been hammering on my channel for quite a fair bit as well here, which I would like to talk about on this channel as well. And this is the 5-day chart for Bitcoin, which I think adds further color onto the current situation. And we can start to talk about this in a probabilistic standpoint. The 5-day chart, we're going to look at this in multiple different venues. First and foremost, focusing on the BBWP indicator representing volatility. Again, volatility measures the dispersion of returns and is direction neutral, which we will use other indicators to come up with a bias on direction. But for right now on this chart, we can see in the past couple of years, and we could bring this back much further than then as well. But in the past couple of years, anytime that we've seen the BBWP indicator get to the teens, let's say, in percentiles, and then expand, get its first positive slope from those levels, has led to some pretty impressive moves in the past. A very common result actually from it, of which I've measured out on this chart right here on all of these green vertical bars, again correlated with these extreme lows on, relatively speaking, the 5-day BBWP. And you can see over the past couple of years, anytime that we have gotten to those levels, it has produced on average about a 45% move.
So just to be clear, what Eric is talking about here is how this BBWP indicator has signaled some major moves in the past, but that it's not necessarily guaranteed to signal a move to the upside. But nonetheless, there's a higher probability right now that it is signaling a move to the upside. Let's hear him clarify this right now.
And also typically happens over the course of about 40 days, again, on average. Some a little bit more, some a little bit less. In this case, the first iteration is to the downside. Took about 45 days, 48.30% to the downside. Next one to the upside over here, about 35 days. Actually, this one is going to be 40 days. I did have that one off right there. But more importantly with this, about 42% to the upside. Next iteration, once again, coming off the $40,000 low in October of last year. And about 46.75% move to the upside, done over the course of 35 days. And then the next one in December coming to the downside. This one doing about 42.17% to the downside over the course of 50 days, a little bit on the longer side, let's say. Anyways, the reason why this is relevant is that we hit the extreme low and expanded off that low, also above the moving average as well, for the first time late March, this current month. And are about to get our secondary confirmation on that with tonight's closure as well, actually. Anyways, that does suggest that the move is in progress, and we can expect, around 45% either to the upside or the downside from this current area right here. Now, I've gone ahead and forecasted that to the upside. 56,000 would be the area of interest, let's say. To the downside, 23,000 would actually be the area of interest, and I would say that gets confirmed with any sort of a move below about 38,500.
So once again, just to be clear here, what Krown is saying is that the 45% move can happen in either direction. And if it happens to the upside, we'd be looking at about 56K Bitcoin. Now, this would actually make perfect sense for a bear market retracement. In fact, it's very normal during bear markets for Bitcoin to retrace up to a significantly high number compared to its previous all-time high, fail to create new highs, and then commence another bearish period. So just know that is totally within the possibilities that we're experiencing a sort of return to neutrality here that make people think it's bullish again, but we don't get the same sort of long-lasting bullish period. Again, I want people to sort of be in the mindset that the market is moving kind of in these 2 to 3 month increments. And so bull markets maybe shouldn't be seen as these multi-year trends so much as these multi-month or multi-week trends that have opportunities if you aggressively take profits, which is what I always encourage this audience to do.
Anyways, in this case, we can use a momentum oscillator known as the stochastic momentum oscillator right here. To kind of get a bias on direction, as it's been very consistent amongst these moves. And again, you can look at it even further than that. But I'm specifically focusing on the cyan and white moving portion right here. And you can see, again, keeping in mind these past 4 iterations, the first one to the downside, next 2 to the up, and last one to the downside, correlate incredibly well on this indicator is right here. His first iteration in May off of the major dump bola was heading down and also getting out of the bullish control zone. Very important. Then same thing, but opposite for the next one in July off of the bear trap, heading to the upside and also getting out of the bearish control zone. Once again, crossing up freshly along that volatility expansion in October for that next move to the upside. And then more recently in December to the downside, once again, losing the bullish control zone. And what do you know? For right now, we do see that the 5-day stochastic momentum is not only outside of the bearish control zone, it's actually about to get its first move back into the bullish control zone since November, and will be remaining with upside posturing as long as Bitcoin is closing above 39,500. So,
and to be clear, Krown is showing the stochastic oscillator here, showing that depending on where in this oscillator's movement this particular signal flashes, that indicates the direction of the move. Now, what he's showing is that effectively in this particular example, it looks like the move is signaling a bullish momentum as opposed to a bearish momentum. He follows up here with a nice little red line drawing as to how he thinks this might actually play out, as there might be some fake outs along the way.
I do put the probabilities in favor of upside continuation. I do think that $56,000 in the next, month to month and a half, or maybe even a little bit longer than that, is kind of essentially where I'm looking for. And I also do think that there's good reason to be cautious around those levels as well for a big pullback. Probably something, looking like this, if I had to guess, at the end of the day. And this is also another technical target up here from the ascending triangle base, and also the 618 Fibonacci retracement. Also, further confluences right there at that $56,000 level. But something like this, I do think is perhaps within the cards. Whether Bitcoin gets a pullback somewhere around 51 to 52, assuming continuation, probably at least some sort of a pullback there. But the reason why I do express caution, at least at one of these two levels right here, whether it's 52, let's say, or 56, is this: the global open interest over here on the Krown trading application. Again, you can find all this information for free at app.krowntrading.net. And it does show the leveraged positions on the board right now. And it's currently at about almost 14.3 billion, which, to put that in perspective, and keep in mind, this represents leveraged positions, being open. This is comparable, or we saw these similar levels from when Bitcoin was in December, when it was trading above $56,000. We also saw it over here in April of last year when Bitcoin was putting in its highs at $65,000. And these were some pretty serious unwinds coming off of those dump-olas, right? So at some point, we will very likely see a major pullback event. The question is, where does it come from? Does it come from where we're at right now? I think that's a little bit less likely, unless if we see Bitcoin below 44.5. At that point, yes, I do think that you're very likely going to see a lot of continuation on that to the downside. The next one, I think it's a little bit less probable, but of interest is just around 51 to 52. And then, of course, you got the $56,000 region right here. And on average, historically speaking, when, we do see extremely high open interest rates like this, it has accounted for about 20, maybe even more percent pullbacks.
So to be clear, what Krown is saying is that even though we see this bullish signal flashing, we're also seeing this insanely high open interest that we haven't seen since the peaks of over $60,000 in December and then back in April. And these are typically unhealthy for the market when there's a lot of leverage, a lot of excess debt in the market, where people are essentially leveraging up their bets to get more aggressive bids in the market. Now, what he's saying is that there's probably a negative consequence to this at some time in the future. He's saying this could come if Bitcoin slips under $44,500 even today, but he sees it as even more relevant here at the potentially 52K level, but very significantly at the 56K level. So just know, if we make it up to these 50-something targets, Krown is predicting that there would be some kind of leverage washout event that might lead to a pretty big pullback to the tune of about 20%. So just understand that that's part of what's being diagnosed here.
So that is a move, I think, worth potentially knowing about. So hopefully that was in some way helpful. I also should probably point out that the leverage ratio right now is basically at all-time highs. I mean, yeah, it's taken a little bit of a downtick from there in the past few days, but it is significantly higher than basically any time that we've seen in the history of Bitcoin right now, which is somewhat concerning, you might say. But again, I want to reiterate my stance. I do think that the probabilities of heading higher first before a major pullback is very likely, and then we'll get to that. We'll cross that road when we get to that road, or however the saying goes. You know how it is. But ultimately, again, I am looking up and to the right here, especially as long as Bitcoin is specifically above $44,500, probably over the course of the next month to month and a half, with specific interest due to the multiple confluences at that $56,000 region. With that said, I hope that this was helpful. I want to wish you well. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.
So there you have it, Eric Krown giving you some of the most informed technical analysis in the space, giving you historical comparables as well as probabilities to understand which direction this market could go, forecasting that the upside of this move could be 56K, the downside could be as little as 23K. Obviously, we don't want to see that. But the reality is that even if we make it up into the 50Ks, you should be expecting some volatility. Again, this is a crazy time. And like I said a few videos ago, the market is in full insanity mode, balancing Fed interest interest rates, global geopolitical tensions, all kinds of skyrocketing commodities prices, energy instability. There is so much to focus on. And so calling a straight move or a straight trend in the market is going to be quite murky over the next few weeks and months. But just like we said, the people who are sticking with this, paying attention and staying engaged will always be able to eke out and find their own opportunities in crypto land. With that said, I'm EllioTrades. I sincerely hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button. Really quick, we're going to pick the winner of the YouTube giveaway, and I'm going to go ahead and give away the $1,000 in ETH from the imposters video from a couple of days ago. Let's go ahead and pick them now. And Zach Rogers says every second was his favorite part of the video. Hey, look, we'll take it. Love the support. Zach will comment under the YouTube comment and get in touch to give you that giveaway. For everyone else, we'll have more giveaways rolling on the channel, so stick tight. As always, I thank you so much for watching. My name's EllioTrades. Truly appreciate you being a part of this community, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.